Music is all I think about. From the moment I wake up in the morning to the moment I fall asleep at night. I was born to play. It's my reason for living.
What is a story leads function? What is the thing that you do on Soul?
It's a little hard to define. And so I started as a story artist on Soul back in summer of 2017. And I got promoted twice. I was a story lead and then a story supervisor. Okay. So a story lead, we're just part of the story team. We're all boarding sequences, but I was kind of leaned on more to board key scenes I was given. And so we're watching scenes a lot together, talking about them for a while. We'd watch every scene in the film, have a discussion, figure out what's working or what's not working. And then we'd all kind of go to our stations, like Kevin would start editing and trying some different music. Kemp would start writing. I would draw, and we would kind of meet back and try something else out. So super iterative, and we would do this and like workshop many moments in the film this way.
And how many variations are there on a given scene? I mean, how many times do you take a scene through itself before you have the not even the finished version, but a version that you can take to the finished version?
Yeah, I don't know, actually. Like many versions, I think. And it depends what you count as a version, because there were like these like little iterations that would happen in between. But we generally do 7 or 8 screenings of the whole film, and they're pretty different from each other. We'll try very radically different ideas, like new intros. Sometimes the character is different. Sometimes the relationships and how they work are totally different, or we're in a new set. So that happens 7 or 8 times through the course of about 3 years.
And how involved is Jamie Foxx in something like that? Because, traditionally the voice performance is recorded before the animation. That's the olden days. But now I know that actors are called in for multiple sessions and tweaking individually. Like Jay Baruchel said once that he went into a recording studio to tweak one line in How to Train Your Dragon, and it changed everything about the third act of that movie.
Yeah.
And so how active a participant is someone like Jamie Foxx or Tina Fey, who plays a major role in the film as well?
I think they're both pretty active. I think the way Pete and Kemp like to work is they're pretty open, and they'll often, I don't think this is true of all directors, when they do the recording sessions, they're also engaging with them and asking them what they think and if they have ideas for different lines. And I don't have any anecdotes like the Jay Baruchel story where it like changed the whole story, but definitely they're a huge part of finding the specificity in the character. And aside from like just the tonal quality of their voices, which is, it lends so much to believability, all that. But I do think they were consulted with quite a bit. So yeah, they were huge parts of the film.
And the film has a real fascination with creativity, with music, and the way that it brings people to themselves. There's that concept in the movie, again, I'm going to be very vague about it, of being in the zone and what that actually does to the human heart instead of the mind. How liberally were you able to, like, was that something you contributed to? Is that visualization something that was always there, or did you find it in the process again? So much of this movie feels like people feeling their way through the story, trying to get to the end, and that one aspect of it, of a film about creativity that depends on the creativity of the people making it to solve the puzzle that it set for itself, is just this weird Rubik's Cube that I'm absolutely fascinated by. So yeah, what was that like for you?
That's a cool way of looking at it. Yeah, we did find it. It kind of organically evolved. There was always, and I actually boarded the first version of it, always a scene where Joe auditioned very early before he falls into the manhole, which I think is okay to say.
Inciting incident. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, basically. And that evolved. At first, it was him playing on his own for a couple of jazz critics, these people that owned a club. And, we kind of got that tentative anxiety, that crossing the threshold and playing, the nervous energy. That was all in there. But then we talked to a lot of jazz players, jazz musicians, and you don't usually audition like that. You audition with the musicians. You sort of just like expect it to kind of go with it. And so that it evolved to this sort of trio that he had to get in line with. They just start playing, then he starts playing. And then from there, he always sort of drifted off and started playing this amazing riff on the piano, and the room kind of went black. But then we tried something where, this sort of abstraction started to form around him. And that really evolved into this idea of the zone. And it is what it is now. And that's actually one of my favorite scenes. Like, I can watch that scene like over and over again. I never get sick of it.
Yeah, it was the first hint to me that the movie is going to be a little more. I mean, I already knew it was about an afterlife experience, but the way you sort of ease everyone into it, that was something that was, again, like so many animated films throw the concept at the viewer just right away, establish it, just bang you right into the world. This movie takes its time getting there, which I really appreciated. It's about someone who, has more stuff going on than he knows. And so the film has to reflect that by just being busier slowly and then really, really going wild. It's, again, not going to talk about it, but I could ask questions that would ruin it for people, and I don't want to do that.
It's cool that you got all that from it, though. That's like what we all wanted.